In Breakout Family, this is Stanley, and we wanted to do something a little different, a little quick and something, yes.
something. Yeah.
For you guys. And what do you wanna? What are we talking about today?
The question of how far gone. So we're looking at the issue of woundedness, right, and forgiveness, because I think in the last few months I've heard like certain just different things, and I keep thinking to myself. I asked myself, how far would somebody go, right, in a marriage and be expected to take things? Because I think that most times when we say this, people don't think about infidelity. And yeah, infidelity is, a serious thing. No one is saying it's not. But I feel like sometimes infidelity is not necessarily it's not necessarily involving another person, right? I think that infidelity is, you made some vows, right? To love, to care, to protect. If you miss out on any one of those, right? You don't do that for whatever reason. Then that's infidelity. So as an example, there's a statistic that is out there that says that about 84% of men leave their wives when they have like a terminal disease or a chronic or something, like a disease that they cannot handle, and we do have personal experience with that, right? So we are one of the statistics in that sense. Well, not us.
Just to clarify, does it have to do with when one of the kids has the illness or either the spouse?
Any illness that is going to take things out of people, right? So that is a form of infidelity. I tell people it's a form of infidelity because you're literally saying there's no for better for worse here, right? And so the question was, how far can we go? And I mean, Sam was honest. He's like,
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I can't guarantee if this happened, I wouldn't be here. And that was just me being honest.
And I'm like,
it wasn't 100% honest, but yeah.
Okay, I got you.
I mean, I was just trying to say, not to judge
other people,
the other person.
Yeah,
that's what the person is.
Because
everybody,
if you're in a particular situation, you don't necessarily know what you're going to
honestly,
do.
You don't know what you're going to do.
It's nice to come here and smile and laugh, but I mean, I literally was counseling somebody, and I said, if no one has ever told you that what you went through, so many years ago, that's a woundedness, and I feel like, to me, that was the not precipitating, but
determining factor.
Is it determining? Like what do you call earthquake event?
Yes.
So, a thing that you just look and you don't know how you can come over it. You're still in a marriage, right? There's nothing, but every time your mind goes back to this one precipitating event, and it's like you cannot let it go, right? And so the question becomes, what are some things that we can practice in order to step forward into the future of forgiveness, right? Because at the bottom of it all is forgiveness, right? So yeah, you forgive. Sometimes there's a saying that if you forgive, it doesn't necessarily mean that you forget. But I feel like if you keep rehashing the same issue over and over again, that's reopening a wound, right? That's it.
I mean, in all honesty, I mean, is it really rehashing the issue? Because forgiveness is unnatural. I mean, forgiveness is so unnatural that I think it takes practice. It takes practice for you to overcome it. So the thought comes back to you, and you're back there again, and you decompress, and then you go on, you forgive. And then the thought happens again, or you hear a story, a triggering memory, and then you're back there again, and then you decompress. I mean, you see what I'm trying to do? It's not necessarily that the person is not trying to forget. I just think it's...
I see what you're trying to say. However, I just think that when we talk about all this chronic disease and all that, if you're following this video, can you see the sweat on my face? There's air conditioning in this house. So when we tell you that women go through things, this is one of them. Just real life. But he's still here. So, what do you have to say about that? But that was a question, big idea. Like, what is that thing that is like a wound? Yeah, because that's what it is. It's You just layer over it, but every time something happens, the scab comes off, the scab comes off, the scab comes off. So what would it take to be able to step out of that, right? Step into wholesome healing, as it were.
Is it fair to assume that every marriage has one of those episodes? In different severities? But...
Well, I don't know that they all have, but the likelihood that everyone will go through something like that in a lifetime is really high. Right? There's a probability, because that's life. Right? Life comes with ups and downs. The problem is that sometimes the down for one couple, right, becomes harder to come back from than another couple. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So does it help to see our struggles, our challenges? I should use the word struggle.
Wait, what do you mean by see?
View your mindset towards it as in the light of not what they take from us emotionally, spiritually, but what they can impact us, what we can. I mean, aren't the couples that go through this life-changing events, they are different on the other side?
Yeah. I don't know, some people never recover. That's the reality of it, right? But the goal, I mean, why we're here is to say you can recover. Because as much as we know people who haven't recovered, we also know people who have recovered. We're standing here as recovered people, right, in that sense. Although someone might say, well, yes, it was not really an epic event, but you cannot determine what a person's epic event is for them, right? So in that sense, so that's the idea, that are there things that you can recover from? Are there things that you cannot recover from? That's one. And secondly, the idea that infidelity, people think infidelity may be just a man goes out with, another woman, or a woman goes out with another man. But I think infidelity is just
betrayal.
Yeah, right? I mean, I don't think it's just, I mean, it's more encompassing. I think that's what I'm trying to say. It's more encompassing. It's just you not keeping to the vows that you made, and that could take very different forms, come in, different ways. And so the idea, though, I always tell women, is you have to take care of that wound, because especially if you have children, you're raising children, they're seeing it, like they are seeing it. They may not see anything, but they're seeing it, right? I mean, yeah, they're seeing it.
And one of these days you might get an outburst.
You will, not might. Because I always say children are your conscience, right? Whether they're young children, grown children, they're, our conscience. And the way we sometimes stand as a conscience of our parents, forget that our children are coming behind us and they will be our conscience. Yes, they will. Right? So in that sense, so I think if you remember that as sandwiched as we are, you learn to be humble, right? Humble, and to do this work with a lot of humility in that sense. So yeah.
Does a difficult marriage pronounce a death sentence on a meaningful life?
About death sentence. We keep talking about this thing about how violent English is. But death sentence. Well, I mean, are you saying that? Okay, let me put it in a very neutral way. Are you saying that being in a difficult marriage can prevent someone from living a meaningful life? I don't think so. Yeah, that sounds better, right? Than death sentence.
True.
I mean, death sentence is more dramatic, right? So yeah.
I think so.
That being in a bad marriage does not preclude you from living a meaningful life. I think so.
It doesn't have to be, man, but if you're in there, if you're in there, you can create a type of compassion, isn't it? That
compassion.
You can not create, but your I want to use another violent word, but my ideology is that your wounds, your scars, can be meaningful to another person that's gone through that. You see what I'm saying?
Well, that's if you're willing to share, right? I guess that's one thing. Which is why we always talk about story sharing. It's not necessarily because you're trying to say, my wounds are bigger than yours, but being able to tell somebody, I went through this and I came through it, right? Or I'm still going through. I think there's that room for encouragement, right, of other people in there. So, and that's one of the things we try to do here. We always said from the beginning that we're here to, tell our stories, right? And then the lessons that we believe we'll learn from them, and hopefully somebody will pick up from that and then not have to go through the same troubles again. Because I'm telling you, troubles can be lumped into the similar categories, if you know what I mean. They may take different shapes and forms, but you can fit them into the same kinds of buckets. And so if someone has gone through it already, you don't have to go through it. I always say you can learn from other people's experiences, right? Which is the whole goal of having marriage mentors, right? So maybe listening to us, listening to other people, listening to people who are older. You are learning from them. You don't have to go through, what they went through, right? In that sense. So yeah.
Well, that's what we have for you guys for today. But next week we will have the privilege of being interviewed by
Book on Review, right? They reviewed our book.
So we're going to share that with you for next week.
Yeah, we enjoyed chatting with them, and we hope you would kind of, stay with us as we walk you through the different things that we talked about with them. Yeah.
Right. So from our family to yours, from our couch to yours for now. Bye for now.
Bye.